So these two are in, we got 3 chairs up there.
There's a couple chairs up front.
Are these samples?
Yes.
What? There's 2
Now I got
more.
it down, I can't get up.
We got a 2.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first annual Words Meet Art event. Thank you all for joining us tonight for this exciting program of writers. I'm probably going to get weepy the whole time. So, program of writers who will read their work inspired by the text and image exhibit here at the Octagon Center for the Arts here in Ames, Iowa. First, let me thank Heather Johnson and Kristen Grademan, who were kind enough to invite me to apply to host this event tonight, and also to Terry and Rhonda Scott, Terry Hooper and Rhonda Scott, who have assisted me with all of these logistics. Many of you here tonight are supportive friends, and others have found out about the Words Meet Art event through a myriad of avenues, several of which have been in the Ames Tribune and the Des Moines Register, which Rhonda Fogberg, thank you so much for writing the article. But when she walked in here tonight, she let me know that her article got picked up by the Associated Press. That is like so exciting. To that end, I would like to thank Rhonda for her story. I would also like to thank my board members, some of who are here tonight for the Ames Writers Collective: Jennifer Brockholler, Jennifer Drinkwater, Ellen Grimm, Anna Magnuson, and Mikesh Mukeg. If you read Rhonda's piece, the special announcement is out of the bag. That announcement was the launch of the Ames Writers Collective. I don't want to take up too much time for this, but I want to say that it was a seed that germinated and grew from my time spent here at Iowa State in the MFA program in creative writing and environment. Because I did not attend as a traditional student, by which I mean I did not teach undergrad English classes or undergrad creative writing classes, I jumped at the chance when my thesis advisor, Deb Marquardt, invited me to teach for the ISU OLLI program. I'm in my 3rd class now teaching for OLLI, and it was there that I realized that there's an infinite amount of writers here in Iowa, in Ames area, central Iowa, who don't necessarily want to study academically. These writers present themselves in many forms. Writers who just want to write stories, others who want to get published, others who only want to write stories for their grandkids. And besides those writers, there's a vast underground of poets, which I found out about one day. And there's people desperately wanting to join those poetry groups, writing groups that don't necessarily have themselves published anywhere in particular. In Ames, we have traditionally and non-traditionally published authors. And besides all that, there's individuals who would love to teach writers to writers in non-traditional settings, meaning again, outside of academia. Just this morning, a school teacher in Des Moines emailed me asking if I could have a chat with her about teaching later in June after she retires. Back at Iowa State in the spring of 2020, I designed my idea for the Ames Writers Collective in Professor Kenny Cook's class. His enthusiasm for this helped catapulted my idea onwards, as well many people who are sitting in this room. At this time, the Ames Writers Collective is incorporated. We are filing for nonprofit status so that we can bring programming to Ames, Iowa, and does not currently have a home. But that is something the board and I will tackle in the next coming months. But as an organization, we see the Writers Collective as serving Central Iowa in a myriad of ways. Opportunities for writers and authors to teach, opportunities for writers to find each other, to form writers groups, community outreach for adolescents, senior and cancer support. At the moment, I'm in conversation with the Bliss Cancer Center to develop expressive writing programs for individuals recovering from cancer, caregivers, and staff. Opportunities for scholarships, a literary festival to bring authors and authors who teach to Ames. and authors talks such as the one at Dog-Eared Books on October 3rd, where I will interview Janice Cook Newman, who is visiting from California, doing research for her next book. In brief, the Ames Writers Collective is an organization committed to building and uplifting communities through the art of writing and storytelling while advancing the literary arts in Ames, Iowa. And now, what you're all here for. Tonight we'll hear from 10 writers who submitted their writing that was selected in a blind read. By that I mean 2 of our board members, Ana and McCracken, were given unidentifiable pieces of writing to judge and make the selection from. In total, we had 22 submissions, which I think for a first-time event, that's pretty spectacular. The goal of this evening is to host a wide writer swath of age ranges. We have 2 junior high school, right? Junior high school students. We have individuals in their 30s and 40s, 50s, and 60s. Each selected author was randomly given an image from the image and text exhibit. By randomly, I mean that I have this little roulette thing, and I numbered all the images and then passed them out by whatever number came up, kind of like Las Vegas. Each writer had 48 hours to turn around a piece of poetry, flash fiction, or creative nonfiction. The images given to the authors was intended to be a writing prompt, meaning they were not to describe the piece, but instead write about what came to mind or what was excavated by observing the image. This evening, I will project 2 audio recordings from writers into the mic from my iPhone and read one individual's piece. These 3 individuals were not able to be with us tonight. Let me see. The other thing is that I believe everyone has maybe a little pile of white cards and a pen. And I'm doing this also as a project for my very last class as an MFA student, where our project is to write a 15-page paper about a social capital interaction. So what I would like is if you put the writer's name at the top of the card, and at the end of their poem or piece, just write a word or a brief sentence about what that piece brought up for you. And if anyone's brave, we'll have you call out, just a couple of you, because we're going to try and stay on task for time. So, well, I'm done with the comments. So, our first author is Ajay Lyons, and she is a writer from Houston, Texas, currently residing in Boone, Iowa. She's a second-year graduate student at Iowa State's MFA in Creative Writing and Environment program. Aja, I'm gonna write along. Is the proud mother of a highly athletically gifted and animal-loving child. Her poem is titled Migrant, and respond to Josephine Langdon's piece, Tetka. You all have a sheet that has a tiny image on it, just so you'll have a general sense of what she was writing for us. Take it away, Aja.
The nameless and faceless dominate spaces without possessing dominion. And the nation that palms the globe. With great might, a superpower wields never-ending fights, often leading those in other lands to seek reprieve for an easier plight. Living hand-to-mouth beats, facing beatings, relentless retreating, holding homes in hovels to hold a hand out to another in need to come on over, blending in for those without melanin, The skin color of preeminence is an easy endeavor until the spoken word discloses cultural divide. Fancy robes used to conceal the unknown, contrite, tradition, and fears. Though keeping close to those no longer flesh and bone, but dust and memory. Thrones and crowns, now in the ground and encased in synapses. Thank you.
So if you'd all just take a moment, thank you, Ajay, to write a little something. And if anyone is brave, call it out. What you wrote. This is kind of a writing prompt thing where when we do fresh writing and we're in a group, after someone is read, then we'll say what spoke to us, what was meaningful, what stuck with us. And so this is sort of a large group. Heard that?
Dust and memories.
Dust and memories.
Yes. Oh, great.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. This is where my paper sticks. Lisa Sauer lives in Ames with her husband Jeff, raising 2 daughters, 2 cats, and a dog. By day, she describes expected software behavior to developers at an insurance company from an attic hideaway. In her free time, she runs errands, explores local parks, and scribbles her feelings on paper. Her love of poetry began with Walt Whitman and Adrienne Rich. She will read her piece, Darkness, in response to Ingrid Lilligren's piece, Silos.
I will follow Asha, who was amazing. Okay, my piece is called Darkness. Children know about grasping for something in the dark. Summertime, soft petals to crush between your fingers, while you yourself are being plucked from the fragrant dirt and held up to admire. Now you see it, a peony falling to pieces in your hands. When I was 15, I did not want to live past 30. I was starting to understand the fleeting nature of a leaf, a flower, a loving gaze. I was starting to understand that my beloved's heart might not speak a language I knew. What I did not know is that finding a reason to go on is feeling our way in the dark. It's my hand touching yours, and once more finding something secret and dark, soft and fragrant and beautiful. I don't know where this will end or who we will be when we get there. I just know that we are drowning in the same darkness.
Would anyone like to share what they wrote to Alicia?
A peony falling apart in your hand.
A peony falling apart in your hand.
Fleeting. Fleeting.
Fleeting. Thank you. Andrea Dorn, an eternal student, has a BS in English from Iowa State University, is a medical laboratory technician, a licensed veterinarian technician, and a writer of nonfiction and poetry. A Nevada, Iowa resident for over 25 years, she advocates for feral cats and lost and found pets, and cheers for the cyclones at every chance. She will read her piece, Together, in response to Cub Stevens and Sirocco Garcia's piece, Nightmare.
Okay, as you said, it's called Together. Small town Iowa, where I grew up, all happy, homogeneous, unaware. Then to the suburbs, a move up, until the city school buses came. I first saw poverty, pitied impassively. I advanced to junior high and had my shoes stolen. It was one of those girls. They were different, separate, like different music, wore different clothes, solved their quarrels with knives. We left those buses and knives for a pastoral life, the countryside, a country school homologous, except for one family of those people. I advocated for the environment, saving Brown's Woods, the BLM I knew, the Bureau of Land Management, captured and killed wild mustangs. Eventually to college I progressed, a new world full of diverse people from different states and countries. Still my circle orbited only Iowa kids. Finally a chance at a university job shaped the people not like me, and yet like me. With similar experiences and aspirations, we strove for success and knowledge, worked together for solutions. Each sharing our own strengths, we reimagined our future.
Would anyone like to call out?
Pity and passively.
Pity and passively. Thank you. David Lee is an Ames High School junior. He likes to express political and social and educational views through the medium of poetry in hopes of fostering compassion with the readers. He is actively involved in environment, racial justice, STEM education, and many other club initiatives at the school and beyond. He will read his piece, "Oh Into Ravens, the End of the World," in response to Kate Kosovich's piece, "Isaac Visits the Farm."
Before I get into my piece, I wrote a little background because this piece is based off of Norse mythology. So in Norse mythology, the king of all gods, Odin, is rarely depicted without his two ravens, Hugin meaning thoughts and Munin meaning mind or memory. Hugin and Munin are spies, informatives, and a part of Odin's identity as the god full of wisdom and power. Odin's greatest fear is delicately written in one of the myths, not as Ragnarok, or aka the end of the world, but rather this. Hugin and Munin fly every day all over the world. I worry for Hugin that he might not return, but I worry more for you. Ode in Two Ravens, the end of the world. Munin. Yesterday was interesting, to say the least. You see, we were perched on Odin's shoulders for the supper feast, drained from an honest day's work, as ravens in the night are off to sleep, our little eyes dozed. Only to be awoken here, not north, south, west, or east, but at the end of the world, with no signs of the world tree. But only these barren branches, no leaves to sing any melodies, no sound of the slithering hideous guarding the immortal serpentine beast, no intelligent life in sight, not a single heartbeat Hunin can hear. Only the emptiness think. Where did everyone go? Hunin. Where did everyone go? It's so quiet up here, I'm shivering. From this breeze stroking against me, tickling me with, what was that, Munin? There's no breeze. There's no breeze, just like there's nothing to hear, and nothing I can remember from yesterday. Maybe if I look over Munin's shoulder, I might notice it. whatever happened. But I can only see the blue, ready to swallow me whole with those towering teeth that crashed onto the sand. What is this island? Where in the nine worlds? Wait, is this Yggdrasil the world tree? Where are the other 7 branches? I can't think. Where did Odin go? Where did Odin go? He used to wonder if we'd ever forever leave his side. His greatest fear was losing his memory and his mind. But now he's gone, abandoned us off to where? Just like that, his back is turned like a traitor. I can't remember, I can't recall, I can't even recollect his voice above all. I can't make out that one sparkling eye that could capture the brilliance of the supernova. I can't remember the touch of those hands on my back, fingers that could carry the weight of worlds. I can't remember. Are we losing ourselves? Where is mine? Where did we go? Where did we go? I think I left the thoughtful side of myself over beyond the coast. I can't go look for myself in that limitless seas. Even Thor couldn't drain it 2 inches against the challenge against the giant speed. And I'm not even making any sense. How can I be over here when I'm sitting right here? How can I feel something from here over there? I think it might. No, I can't think. I don't know. You say it's on the other side. We should be looking to the right. No, there's nothing for us there. I won't believe you. At the end of the world cannot have yet arrived. Only thing that's left is to keep looking over here. Where did everyone go? Where did Odin go? Where did we go? I don't know. I can't think. But now, Unit, where did we go? Where do we go? I can't remember. Unit, where do we go? Thank you.
Do we have any, great, Jim?
How can I feel something here from over there?
Dr. River?
Time.
Time?
Yeah, time.
Time. And Jim's was, how do we feel?
How can I feel something how can I feel something here from over there?
How can I feel something here from over there? Thank you. Donna Moyer is a photo artist and writer, and a bit of a reverse Dorothy. Having transported herself with a Fiat rather than a tornado from the Emerald City of Seattle to Ames on the plains of the Midwest. Also a wine industry op-ed writer, Donna is circling back to writing fiction and poetry. Her first love. She will read her piece, My Shoes, in response to Rex Here's piece, Sail.
Flash picture. My shoes. A mile. My shoes. A mile. I don't want you to walk a mile in my shoes. You can have them. Wear them, burn them, suit yourself. They're waiting for you on Pine Street between 2nd and 1st Avenue. The right pointing directly west, the left listing slightly southwest. I walked right out of those damn shoes, and well, I did soon discover you can only go so far in this city in soft feet. Why do we make sidewalks meant for human foot traffic harder than laptop made for automobiles? I walked for a time, made it some distance, and then I sat abruptly here on this curb, startling a large man nearby, prompting a whoa, man. He's leaning over, one hand braced on his knee, the other offering a lift. I look up from Air Jordan sneakers into his round, smiling brown face. How in the full force of his kind eyes holds my voice captive. Side branches are everywhere. This whole city is one mass space with 1 million side branching pines. I shake my head no, and he goes on with a shrug. Those are fine shoes. White leather, barely scuffed, blazing red, and that black accent. Those are statement shoes. So many shoes flown by and outside, shouting natural statements. I lift my gaze, seeking a quieter place. Sunglasses discounted. A sign juggler deftly twirls, we buy gold. A couple of teens wave cheerfully from a blanket with a guitar, a dog, and a cardboard sign. Too cute to prostitute, anything helps. No rest here. Across the street, a vendor selling t-shirts, tie-dye, Sasquatch and silhouette, walking sideways, holding a balloon, riding a bike. Another puzzles me. 3 broken hearts in a row. A tally? Broken or lightning struck? And is there a difference? The sun is setting and a van blocks my view of the t-shirt vendor, a reprieve from this line of inquiry. It draws from all directions a small army wearing a uniform of varying shades of gray and brown. Camouflage. For what environment? I look down at myself. I look down at myself and I wonder, how long does it take to get in that uniform? Brown bags and blankets are being passed out. One of Van's occupants walks over to me. Church of the Unbroken Covenant is his t-shirt statement. Which covenant? Is there one that hasn't been eroded, misconstrued, or manipulated? With a radiant smile, he sets his offering next to mine. The blanket is made of recycled textiles, composited like the Earth's layers, millennia compounded within inches. A blue poster box supports my left shoulder and head. The noise around me, a singular hum. The folded blanket, a cushion between me and the curb. A vintage Starbucks cup appears on my right. A slender silver ring hand withdraws along with its slender owner. Crooked smile as she moves on without a word. I remove the lid and let the steamy spirit up and away and sip its rich, bitter wake-up call. I set the cup on the curb and shift my weight uncomfortably, eyes ranging restlessly for a public restroom sign. Suddenly seeping warmth jolts my frame, and my internal radar seeks confirmation of the source. Then voices over my right shoulder draw my gaze to blue leather pumps, the toe of which sits in a puddle of coffee it created. The shoes scoop out of danger, and her companion sends her off with congratulations for her new home purchase. And then it turns abruptly to me. Look here, buddy, don't make me call security. I'm trying to do business. You've been here long enough. Surely that bench across the way is more comfortable for you. He turns on the heel of his leather Italian loafer and marches into his office, fronted with windows of portraits of houses, full of loaded with amenities and curb appeal. Are you ill? Maybe, aren't we all? Do you identify as male or female? Yes. Age? Yes. Frustration in the exhale. Do you have a home address? Yes. Enthusiastic affirming nodding. Would you like us to take you there? I suppose so, for now.
Wow, thank you. Do you have something? No. Would anyone like to call out something that struck them?
Statement shoes.
Statement shoes. Great. Thank you, Don. Oh, sure.
I've been through Washington and there's a tree where people put their old shoes. Have you ever been there? I think it's near John Day, Washington. Yeah, I call it the tree of shoes. Have to look it up.
This reminded the gentleman of the tree of shoes.
Anna, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, and sip its bitter wake up call.
Which one?
And sip its bitter wake up call.
And sip this bitter wake up
Sip
call.
its bitter wake up call.
Thank you. Our next reader is Elaine Bailey Mattingly. She was born and raised on land once home to the Saki Ho-Chuk Native Nations and Ho-Chuk Native Nations, an idyllic landscape colloquially known as the Grant Wood Country. She is descendant of Irish, German, Czech, Swedish, and Austrian immigrants, working class Democrats, Republican farmers, Quakers, Anabaptists, and Methodists. A published poet from Newton, Elaine writes for page, stage, and musical projects. She gives presentations, facilitates forums, and performs. More information can be found out about her at elainemattingly.com. She will read her piece, Poet Up, in response to David Dunlap and Philip Chen's piece, Calendar Drawing.
Thank you, Anna. What a treat. And what a treat to read to a full house. It's a writer's dream. Poet Up. When you step onto fields of word dreams, uniformed in your particular perceptions and techniques, what will come to be? I say, swing your verses, be they broken or cracked, or be they fat with sound or crammed with classic craft, or fresh with free jazz slamology. I bet some land beyond the tallest trees. Pitch elegies, odes, lyrics, and raps, lines that break free, careen with the breeze, run afoul of the neighbor's mechanical beasts, ride bareback on acorns, fall lovingly upon Mother Earth, serve the squirrels, or lay fallow until spring sprout. Show the crowd manifestos of words that search beyond the stats, pull back curtains, remind of lessons of the past, refuse to accommodate placing the future in a destroyer's path. Go ahead, pitch your red, white, yellow, black, and brown words, those that blare from throats of iconoclasts who call out tyrants and their Narcissian power grabs, who take society to task, their courage ripping cruel idols from their fortified slabs. Go ahead, but before the game is over, let's be sure to swing for the ones whose backs are against the wall, whose nerves are too close to cracking, whose shame wears masks of illegal smiles, who are stuck in toxic families or conquerors' atrocities aided by systems of governmental, religious, and ancestral domination hierarchies. No matter what, let us witness you pitching your triumphal words, words announcing the conquering of demons, reporting your rise from ashes, unveiling the transformation of tears into shooting stars of wisdom. All in a light show as glorious as you. Your turn to bat. Poet up. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Does we do have someone to poet up there? A response for Elaine, Mary Beth?
Transformation of tears to wisdom.
Transformation of tears to wisdom.
Masks of illegal smiles.
Masks of illegal smiles. Great, thank you. This is where we get technical. So our next poet will be, our haiku poet actually, will be projected via audio. And her name is Jane Robinette, and she was born and raised and has lived in Iowa most of her life. She grew up surrounded by the art making of her mother and others in the Des Moines Metro. Over the years, Jane has been a poet, a writer, activist, social worker, lawyer, oral historian, volunteer, web designer, caregiver, and artist. She lives in Urbandale with her spouse. She will read via audio her piece, The Last and Best Chance, in 7 haiku, in response to Zach Stewart's series of pieces, Has the Globe Become the New Swoosh?
The last and best chance in 7 haiku. Waves rise upon waves, plastic foam undulating for your convenience. Poor lowland toxins dwell in playgrounds and water, all new and improved. Brown bears leave their dens. Intense heat invades the north. Your free trial starts now. Aquifers empty, glaciers slide into oceans. Shop extended hours. Crops brown and wither. Bees and warblers disappear. Do not miss this sale. Winds fell mighty oaks. Flames consume forests and homes. These great deals end soon. Green lakes suffocate. Black lilies push from blue earth. Only one, act now.
Thank you, Jane. I'm not sure if she's with us on YouTube or not, but thank you, Jane. Do we have a response to her writing? Terry.
Green lakes suffocate.
Green lake suffocate.
Also, Jane is an artist in the shop, and you can buy some of her work in the shop.
Jane is an artist in the shop, and she has artwork that you can purchase there afterwards. Is there anyone else? Oh, sorry, yes.
Does where we put our focus matter?
Does where we put our focus matter? Thank you. So I will be reading this next one, and it's by Cat Blue, an Iowa girl through and through, except for cycling the sandhills of Nebraska, sampling street food in Beijing, floating weightless in the Gulf of Thailand, leaving footprints on the Great Wall. She likes playing with words, eating big scoops of ice cream, and pretending to be a writer. Yeah. I will read her piece, Pockets, in response to Catherine Reinhardt's piece, Protections 1. Pockets. Well, I can tell you this about pockets. If you ain't got them, you're gonna dang well wish you did. Why'd y'all think guys got them everywhere? Heck, even in their underwear. If you got pockets, you can do stuff because you got a place to put stuff. You got a place to put pennies, pick from parking lots, and other fun things you find, like bottle caps and laundry lint, sometimes even peppermints, or little rocks or hollyhocks, even gooey stuff like love poems or Grandpa's old glass eye, Auntie Ellen's memories, or Benny's broken heart. You could even fool these words and put them there to keep, just because. The thing is, you gotta keep your hands free for important stuff, like catching falling stars, petting stray cats, hugging your friends, and holding my hand. Thank you, Kat. Do we have a response for Kat?
Even in their underwear.
Yeah, me too. Even in their underwear. Yes.
The whole last thing where the hands have to keep them free and everything after that.
You got to keep your hands free from important stuff like catching falling stars, petting stray cats, hugging your friends, and holding my hand. Thank you, Kat. Our next author is Leslie Kim, and she is a high school senior in Ames, Iowa. She enjoys writing in the creative nonfiction and science fiction genre, and occasionally writes poems when she's feeling angsty. Leslie is passionate about STEM and getting youth voices heard through writing. When she has free time, she can be found biking, cooking, and I'm going to mess this pronunciation up, and watching Studio Ghibli? Okay, movies. She will read her piece titled Grass Grows in Pompeii in response to Kyle Reynolds' piece, Love Liberates, It Does Not Bend, thanks to Maya Angelou.
Grass grows in Pompeii. I hate expiration dates. It makes no sense that at an exact measurable date, bacteria will obey core font numbers and begin its efficient destruction, curdling, pumping, and blooming. Rotting is a process. So whenever the milk is a week from expiring, I throw it out. I imagine the bacteria creeping along the edges, churning the milk sickly sour. Maybe it's for this reason I hate doctors too. They tell me my mother has a few weeks left, but I know that's not true because she idles with the television on. Soap opera chatter and cheap sound effects swell in the silence. She does not breathe on her own. Instead, tubes emerge from her body, working it for her. Time to time, I will sit next to her and run my fingers through her black hair to show her that I care, an attempt to dignify her. That I've learned not to flinch when the brittle strands snap and cluster around my fingers. My mother used to tell me that I was born out of conflict. It was the day her village burned as collateral to war militias. She does not speak of casualties or much else, but more recently she describes it with hardened endearment. Tells me that living in America means she can forget these kinds of things. I don't know what these kinds of things are, but when the birthday candles are lit, I see the swell of tears as they glint against the flames. When he kisses me, I can feel it in my stomach. The fluttering warmth makes me sweat, but I think that's just a part of love. When we find out that my birthday is the same day when Mount Vesuvius erupted on Pompeii, he tells me that that's hot and poetic. I giggle and sew my lips tight to his. I don't tell him about what haunts my mother because I'm afraid he'll write me a poem about it. He tells me it's not so hot and poetic that my mother doesn't know of his existence. I explain that it's complicated because it is, and grab the solo cups. Instead of a rebuttal, he takes messy gulps and little amber beads collect on his lips. I sip mine. I never really liked how beer tasted, but I think love is about compromise. Due to the sick scheduling of the universe, it's dinner on my birthday when he knocks at our door. The air reeked of booze and fear seeping out of my pores. In chemically constructed confidence, he tells me that he loves me. But before another syllable sounds, the door snaps shut. This is where we fall apart. My mother speaks too rapidly for my English molded ears to interpret. Her face is a burning shade of disappointment, and the heaviness of her gaze fuels my yells in response. We are symphonies in mutual destruction, our words like high-pitched dissonance. The world is spinning and the table isn't set, and I feel claustrophobically bored, and it all gets louder and louder and louder. Why don't you want me to be happy? Why can't I be like every other girl? You know, Amy, the one I study with, she's dating someone too. Do you even know what love is? What about Dad? Where's he? Why don't we ever talk about that? When was the last time you called Grandma and Grandpa? You make it all about me. Stop it. Shut up. Why do you cry on my birthday? Do you even love me? She does not respond. It's not because you're dying that I say this now. I'm sorry. That night I blew out my candle alone. I wished I could swallow words. Now I wish I could take your hurt and exchange it with mine. I would carry all the rotting parts of our relationship for you. Store them deep in my ribcage so I could feel lighter, like my body decomposing itself. Yesterday I was looking up all the places we will never see you. One of the photos was strangely wonderful. Did you know that despite the destruction and carnage, Pompeii has grass?
Wow. Would anyone like to leave a comment? Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Okay, wow.
Double wow.
Double wow.
Triple wow.
Triple wow. Thank you, Leslie. I also would like to add that love is compromise. So our last author is also via audio. Audio is, sorry, I speak German, I can never remember. Tina Bakehouse lives in Maple Edge Farm, a 152-year-old family farm in southwest Iowa, with her husband John and son Anderson, A public speaking and storytelling coach, Tina uses this beautiful farm to facilitate team building workshops with her amazing goat herd. Tina will read her piece via audio in response to Lauren Pesta's piece, Conversations of an Heirloom.
I open my mouth to speak and nothing comes out. Students stare and murmur in disbelief. This heavy wave of doubt forces me to try again. Still, no sound. My vocal cords just won't work. Suddenly, I'm growing faint, and the strong woody pine and balmy classroom close in on me. I'm a high school speech teacher in an inner city school with nearly 40% of students eating free and reduced lunches, struggling to read at a 4th grade level with parents working 2 jobs unavailable or in prison. After 5 years of teaching experience, this junior English class challenges me every day. And now I can't speak. I feel powerless, unable to give directions, answer questions, discipline students. Panicked, I gesture to Amanda, a loyal and helpful student, to go to the main office pronto. Principal Judy scurries in, straightening her dark navy suit, and agrees to teach my class for the rest of the day. With authority, she says to me, go home, rest, take a few days, get that voice back. Day 1, nothing. Day 2, still nothing. 4 days pass, my voice still absent, only a squeak creeps out. My roommate calls the school and a speech therapist, seated in Dr. Jones' dark, windowless office. She shifts in her black linen chair, gives a long, soft sigh, takes off her brown glasses and says, you have vocal cord nodules. After a series of psychological questions, she explains the stress of my job has directly impacted my vocal cords. The more stress, the more strain on my voice. You'll have to retrain your breathing, your thinking, and then hopefully your speaking will come back, Dr. Jones says. After 2 months of intense vocal therapy, I'm referred to a surgeon who specializes in laryngology. And after deep analysis, he says, you have 2 choices. Choice 1, have surgery, and most likely your pitch will lower, or it's possible nothing happens and the damage is done. Choice 2, 6 weeks of silence. No talking, no laughing, no cheating. No talking, no laughing, no cheating, as in say nothing. Immediately I think, how can I communicate, connect with others? For that's what I do. That's who I am. Clearly, this doctor doesn't know this extrovert loves to talk and loves laughing even more. I choose the cheapest and hardest choice, 6 weeks of silence. Little did I know just how difficult it would be. During this time, I sat with myself. Analyzing my thoughts, I examined, who am I? Who am I becoming? Am I truly the creative being I'm meant to be? All of us can be on autopilot, waking each morning, making the bed, brewing the coffee, jumping in the car, doing the job, talking on the phone, talking to friends, talking to family, talking. We can embody Groundhog Day as our story. Emerson says, the only person you are destined to become is the person you decide to be. Asking ourselves, am I being who I'm called to be? Am I listening to others? Am I connecting? For 6 weeks and notepad in hand, I start relating with others, listening to their stories, asking questions, becoming curious. In those 6 weeks, I learned that what people want more than anything else is to share their story, to be real, to be vulnerable, to connect. After a year of intense therapy, a mindset and job change, my voice reappeared. Those 6 weeks reinforced I'm more than my voice, my hands, and my body. What's my story? I'm more than a teacher, coach, storyteller, leader, nature lover, friend, wife, and mom. For these are just the many roles and characters I play each day. Losing my voice is only one character in my life's beautiful book. What's your story?
I believe so, yes. I forgot to, so here's the thing, if we were in Europe, we wouldn't care for a memoir or creative nonfiction or fiction, so, but I believe it is. So I forgot to write that down and it just memory shot serving me, but thank you for asking. Did anything stick with anyone that they'd like to share? Yes.
What people want is to share their stories.
What people want is to share their stories.
Everybody has a story.
Everybody has a story. So thank you to all of these 10 brave writers